Darrell's been asked a question about how to build your sergeants to better take on challenges. So we've put a little array of some of our sergeants from the studio here. Darrell, do you have any advice or any tips on how to build a decent sergeant that can take on some of these combats?
These are the classic sergeant. Here's like the Power Fist guy. This is what you would normally have stuck in. We have other versions: Power Fist, Combat Shield. We have my guy that's got 2 combi weapons. We have Plasma Pistol, Power Weapon, and so on around there. We have a various build of different guys.
Yeah, we've even included a TOW with an EMP grenade. There you go.
It gets the mighty EMP grenade. The problem I find now with Sergeant is, like, this would be your classic sort of guy with a Power Fist, is the other guy will come in and challenge you. And if you've got a Power Fist, he's doing 2 things at this point. He's taking your Power Fist out of the combat. So generally, sergeants will have extra attacks or better weapons. Generally, the extra attacks. He's taking him out. If it's just your bog standard little Marine guy here with no upgrades, your Power Fist guy's then going second. So you're going, I'm going to squish him, but not necessarily.
Yeah.
You could be dead before you go to squish him.
Well, that's it. Your sergeant still only has 1 wound.
Yeah, your sergeant, like this guy would have 3,
and the main
4 in attack.
The main advantage you're saying here, of course, is that because this challenge has to be worked out separately, the Power Fist doesn't actually get the fight in the main combat to possibly do something nasty to people.
At best now he's going to squish him, but your pain in this, guys, is he will have 4 attacks. He's a Marine Sergeant with 2 normally, pistol, close combat weapon. So he'd hit on a 4, and he would wound on a 4, and there your Power Fist guy, we'll say he's yours, Andy, has to take his 2 armor saves. And he died.
Yeah.
This has achieved 2 things for the Ultramarines at this point. He's killed a Space Wolf, so he'll go down in legend. Well, the 2 main things he achieved is he took this guy out of the combat, and he also killed him. Yeah. This guy didn't get to stand there by himself and go squish, squish, squish.
Yeah, he didn't get the chance to put his multiple Power Fist attacks into the unit that could have squashed more guys than just 1.
Because he would have stood it in the unit and everybody else around him would have died, and then he would have did all his attacks if you'd moved them in carefully. So I think all these Power Fist guys are a bit pointless now.
I can see what Darrell's trying to get at here. Yeah, what he's getting at is, if you have a particular weapon that's powerful, basically that's the guy you want to challenge. You want to make sure you challenge him.
The sergeant,
take him out of the combat. He's not going to have the chance to squash loads of your wee guys. He can only at maximum squash 1 sergeant, maybe.
Exactly.
And if your sergeant, I suppose, is bolt pistol chainsaw, he's going to be far less points as well.
This guy's coming in at 40 some odd points. Now all these guys with the Power Fists are all coming in at 40 plus points, because it's generally, we're chatting Marines here, but it's generally 25 points for a Power Fist. And they go and last in a challenge, because one of the best guys for this is like this guy here, Plasma Pistol, Power Weapon.
Yeah.
Because against all these other Power Fist sergeants, he's going first. For me, I think now sergeants should either be cheap and cheerful like him, he proved it, or be shooty.
Yeah, to have your combi, two combi weapon guy.
I have a 2 combi weapon guy, Milta Plasma, but I might be changing that to Flamers. He might lose his Milta. I'm not a fan of Miltas generally.
Well, I mean, while you're saying that, of course, as well, we've got a Necron Lord in there who arguably is the guy you would slot into Necrons to be your sergeant. He's much the same.
He's not too bad, because against all the rest of these Power Fist guys, he's at least initiative 2.
Yeah.
And here he is a War Scythe, but he can have a selection, he can have a power weapon or whatnot.
Well, your favourite, the Gauntlet of Fire, isn't it?
Gauntlet of Fire's great. But the thing with it is mainly the Power Fist guys, I think, are all snookered, you know.
Yeah.
The guys that just have, like him, he has got no close combat weapon, but he'll still get 3 attacks because he's a sergeant. And in the normal unit, you can fire your combi weapons and do all that there, and still the cheap sergeant who can't fight is doing that double job for you, refusing, challenging, and then going, well, the only other thing you could do with this guy is go, I'll refuse that challenge.
In which case, he's not going to fight with his Power Fist then.
He's not going to fight with his Power Fists. I think Power Fists are gone, guys, really, for sergeants. I don't rate it at all now.
Yeah, well, I suppose one of the other things we should mention, just because we put them in, was that the Dark Eldar with the Agonizer is a great guy for taking challenges.
He is.
You know, a power weapon that wins in 4s, or always wins in 4s, with a really high initiative as well is great across the board. The
other thing, if your sergeant, not all of them has access to a shield, like this is just combat shields at 6 up and vulnerable. If there's access to a storm shield, that's probably the best guy you could put in.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you've got access to a storm shield, you can challenge them other characters. The likes of Abaddon or something like that there. I've even seen my Ragnar come charging in. And a guy with a storm shield challenges you and you go, oh, I sort of have to take it. I'll squish him. But then you roll badly.
It might take you more than one turn.
And you bounce off him a couple of times in the combat, and all of a sudden this little storm shield sergeant is keeping you there a long time. So for me, probably the best build of your sergeants is, if you can do it, power weapon storm shield. If you want him to be fighty, because you want to kill that other guy sergeant before he gets to fight, or just keep him shooty and let him die in the combat.
Just sacrifice him at that point. Or of course, if you keep him shooty and you've got there two combi weapons. Once he's shot all his combis, basically that's the time to send him in, for a challenge, and he challenges the guy with the power fist and could potentially beat him. Of course.
The other thing you have to remember is your sergeants are characters, so they've got that if they roll a 6 with their shooty weapons as well.
Yeah.
They've got that picking out the enemy in the combat. So a lot of the time, the thing that'll happen is the other person will pick out your sergeant and goes, he has to take game saves.
Yeah.
So expensive sergeant guys, I don't think it's worth it. Cheap and cheerful all the way.
That's it.
All across the board.
The return of the bolt pistol and chainsword, I think, for your sergeant.
Because most of the standard Marine armies get this guy for free, basically, and you're going,
get him for free, and he's got a bolt pistol and a
chainsword. So he's got 4 attacks in the charge.
Arguably one of his best setups for taking challenges, for dishing out challenges.
Maybe a melter bomb, because melter bombs are always good.
Melter bomb's always worthwhile. That's right. Especially now, of course, that you can put it on the thing using your weapon skill as well.
Yeah.
So
no,
was it 4 up or something? 3
yeah,
up?
3 up against most of the vehicles, against all the vehicles basically. So guys, what we're saying is maybe your power fists are going to have to go.
Yeah.
Power weapons. Everybody said, nah, power weapons are pointless now. We need fists. I don't think so, because I have seen it. Most of the power fist sergeants are dead before they ever get to do anything worthwhile.
Well, there you go, guys. If you're looking to save some points in some of your armies, then perhaps you might want to drop some of those expensive close combat weapons from the basic sergeants and get them to take more challenges or issue more challenges in the combat. No, death before glory and all that sort of
Death before glory.
Yeah,
and if the other guy's fearless, he has to accept it. He may charge you and go, I'm going to kill half of your squad. I am carrying a betrayer, and you go, I'm challenging you. Oh, you're fearless. You're going to have to take this now.
Well, I mean, there is of course the crux of the whole thing. If our little bolter chainsword sergeant guy challenges Abaddon, that's 1 round Abaddon's not fighting against your whole unit.
That's that, what, 4 plus D6 attacks all going on your little sergeant?
Yeah, one tiny sergeant.
And if he's either, one guy died or your entire squad died, it's a good way of keeping characters from wiping out a squad in the 1 turn.
Yeah.
He charges in, he has to accept it. Especially characters, the guys that run around by themselves, the likes of Mephiston.
Yeah.
He'll not like us. Every time he charges into a squad now, it'll be, I challenge you.
I challenge you, Mephiston.
Lord of Death. Lord of Death. Master of Killing. I challenge you.
Your strength 10 force weapon and toughness 6.
Fight
My
me.
chainsword will take you.
Yeah. Stand aside. What's that game I said? Step aside, boy. Step aside.
Step aside. I'm coming through, taking his jacket off.
Let me at him.
Well, guys, what do you think? Are you going to be dropping out some of your close combat weapons, or what are you going to do? Drop some comments below. Tell us about it, and tell us what you think.